testing your application on an emulator works very well, but eventually you're going to want to run it on a real device. And sometimes you'll run into issues that you only find on devices, which hopefully are rare, but they do happen from time to time. Often you'll get a better feel for your application when you're running on a device, as we see here. This is a Pixel 4a. You can use any Android device that you have. I have the Pixel devices, as those have been the devices that I use. But what you want to do is you want to connect the device. It'll ask you if you want to enable debugging. You might have to go into the development options on the phone and then enable USB debugging. That can be found very easily online. We won't walk through that here, but you'll just need to enable debugging. Plug it into your phone, plug it the other end into the computer, and then what you'll likely see is a pop-up on the screen asking if you want to allow connections to your computer, and you'll select OK. I always select always allow because I'm always on this phone and computer. And then eventually you'll see something like this up top here, that this is a running device. This is my Google Pixel 4a, so we can see this running here. Now, for demonstration purposes, it's very difficult for me to demonstrate this to you. So what we're going to use is a way to cast the screen to the screen here so we can record it. And there is something known as Visor. And Visor there's a free version of it. I have the paid version, but you can do a free version. And it allows you to play and interact with the actual device on the screen. So I just started Visor. It has found my Pixel 4a. I'm going to hit play to view device, and we're going to see it over here. It'll install a Visor connection, and now this is the actual device. Now we see it here. If I pull up for the apps, we can see it. As I move it here, it's moving on the screen. So if you're looking at my camera and this, you can see that I'm controlling what we see on the device. If I decide that I want to, let's say we're going to open, which app can we open here? Let's open this timer application here. This application is going to open, and then we see that it's there. It's the same thing that's on here. And then it loads on the screen. And then if I scroll up to get rid of it and I swipe it, so this is the device that you see here on the screen. So that's how we're going to interact with it. Then close this window here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually make Android Studio smaller so we can keep this in the active window here. Now I can also make this bigger. So something like this. And I can kind of just do something like that, which will do that and make it a little bit bigger so it fills the available screen real estate. And then we can have the IDE and this over here. Now, in order for your device to connect to your local host machine, you have to have a way for your device to talk to the local environment. And the easiest way I've found to do that is through ngrok or local tunnel. So I'm going to do ngrok and then HTTP 3000. And what that's going to do is set up a local tunnel to HTTP 3000, as we can see here. It's forwarding this URL to my local host. So I'm going to just go ahead and copy this here. And you see my screen turned off on my device, and so it automatically goes away. And then what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to open this in the Chrome browser. And I've opened this in the Chrome browser. Please note that I already have Jumpstart Pro already running locally. And this is connecting to my local environment. And you see down here the requests that have come in from that. These are all the HTTP requests that came in. So, okay. So let's go back here. This is the URL. I'm going to close this out and I'm going to go back to my application. And now it's important that I actually tell the application that I'm going to install on the actual device here, which is going to be here through Visor, that it needs to talk to that endpoint. And to do that, we're going to go into the build.gradle.kts file inside of the app, scroll up to our build types, and then inside of our build config field, I'm going to change this value to that new ngrok value. Make sure I get rid of that space. And so what this will do is set the base URL for when we install it on this device to use this value here. So I'm going to go ahead now and I will, since I've changed this build.gradle file, notice how this has been grayed out. I need to resync the Gradle files with the project. So I'll hit this, it'll resync it, and then eventually we will see that this loads in here correctly. Okay. It's telling us we can upgrade the project. We don't want to do that now. We'll hit play. This will build it and install it on our device and launch it, which we should see any second now over on the right. So we're seeing the build is now it's launching on the device. And then now we're seeing Jumpstart Pro Android launch onto the actual device. It's showing the splash screen. It's loading because it's hitting. And we can see over here that these values were being updated. The HTTP requests, the latest ones were being present there. And now we're running in our application. It's in dark mode because it's nighttime. And then we can toggle here. And we're actually running on, so if I hit login and watch the bottom window down here, you'll see some more requests. You see user sign in was requested. I'll close this out. If I go to notifications, we'll see that the notifications was shown as unauthorized because that requires login to see notifications. So I'm going to close that out. And then maybe even what's new, we'll see the announcements is a 200 and that's what's new. And then we'll back out of this and we can toggle that back down. And now we are running on an actual device, which I can interact with here by pressing the button, hitting login. Maybe I can close that out. I can go to click sign up. It'll show me the sign up view. I can close that out. Now we are working in the actual application inside of an actual device. So we've installed it on an actual device. And the way that we have done that is using ngrok to tunnel our local connection through ngrok so we can actually install it onto a real device. And that's how you can run your application on a real device inside of a testing environment. If you've already built your application and you've maybe watched some of the later videos on how to build the release version and you've installed the APK onto your actual phone, then you should be using the production version, and at that time your URL would already be set up to your production URL and you should be good to go there. That's how you get it set up on an actual device, and use Visor to cast it to your screen. You don't have to use Visor. I'm just using it here so you can see, as you see on my Pixel 4a, so you can see it on the screen. You don't have to do that. You could just connect directly to your phone and interact with your phone. That's what a lot of developers do. No need to use Visor if you don't want to.